Have you ever been picked on for the way you play a game, or you've seen it happen to somebody else? Is this a problem in the Doom Eternal community today? Let's talk about that and dive right in. My name's Austin, and allow me to set the stage with an example that's close to me. My story. I like to play Nightmare, Ultra Nightmare, crazy challenge runs like triple damage, even double game speed, and personally, I feel like that Nightmare is the way to play the game. Even Hugo has said that it's the way it was designed. You get the most out of and test the Doom dance to its fullest extent. It's Doom Eternal the way it was designed, at its peak. But, and this is important, I understand that some people may not want to play this way. Maybe they like the way the game plays at other difficulties better, as difficulty settings do change enemy behavior and aggression and aim, not Slayer damage, which is good, and that's okay. But here's the thing, it depends on not just your abilities, but your goal for the game. That being said, I'm a firm believer in not selling yourself short and pushing, because you just might surprise yourself with what you can do. I've got to talk more about that here in just a minute. This matters to me on a personal level. When I started 2016 at the end of 2018, I never even thought about UN. And with Eternal, I didn't see it happening either. Because hey, I'm a new dad, I heard Eternal's twice the length, I don't stream super long hours, it would be too long a game for the time I had to play each stream, so I probably wouldn't be going for that gold skin. And I never really was a permadeath guy because hey, I saved scum a bunch in Doom 2. Heck, I almost didn't even want to play 2016, starting on Ultraviolence, because I thought it would be like Doom 2's Ultraviolence, same name and all, and though I did play classic Doom to modern mods like Doom for Doom, which totally helped, but at first, everything felt slow and too hard and unfair, complicated, and to learn a whole new game system with runes and upgrades, but I persevered. And now, I've gotten a greater appreciation for the game and series that I grew up with through the 90s as a kid on Windows 3.1 and Windows 95, DOS, and I am glad I didn't give up. That also being said, if your goals for the game aren't to push the hardest you possibly can, and you just want to chill and kill the enemies, that's fine. I'll get more into how I've personally felt this here in just a moment, but even in a game as intense as Doom Eternal, because the way that different difficulties work and operate, you can still have an experience that you will enjoy no matter where you are. Because the game doesn't just make enemies bullet sponges at higher difficulties, you can use the same tactics as I do on Ultra Nightmare in a sense. The game is rich with different ways to play. You can do no super weapons, the can't perfect perfection or the unmodded challenge, and so much more that you can do at any skill level. Even the triple damage or double speed works anywhere, and yeah, double speed makes regular Eternal feel super slow. And you have to do what you want to do. There's a challenge out now called Brawler Mode by UNMAYKR. It's designed to get you up close and personal with the battles. And my own challenge, 3X or 3Eternal, triples all incoming damage. If neither of these are what you're into, that's fine. Find a challenge run that you'll be into that pushes you and see what works. Or just do the regular gameplay. So as someone who is a challenge runner, I've done those that take away your arsenal, like in Doom 2016, pistol only no equipment, or 0%, no upgrades or anything, and they're valuable. They do teach you about the game and its inner workings and mechanics. But the challenge runs with the increased damage taken, they let you take that fully kitted Slayer to work on those skills that you've learned and really put them to the test. It does help the replayability, and it can be done at any skill level with, I feel, the goal to eventually work to Nightmare. But you do have to start somewhere first. Now, this isn't something against games that offer one difficulty setting, by any means it's not, but this makes Eternal that much more accessible to many people. And that's what's sweet about it. I can still talk strategy with you even if you play on skill 1, I mean there would be some differences technically, yes, because the core concepts, those core concepts like trigger enemies, now check that video out, it's super helpful to understand how the arenas work in the game, and the damage to the enemies remains basically the same. The game is designed, and the dance is there to be played at a wide variety of skill levels and be accessible. Yes, even the Marauder is good design, and you can beat him blindfolded. I've done it, really. Look up in the top right. You learn the mechanics as you go, and you apply them as you're able. I will say though that lower difficulties may develop habits of not using all your tools and weapons for the situation, and as once you get into Nightmare, you can't tank things anymore, and you have to play differently for sure. But remember earlier where I mentioned goals? If your goals aren't to push, that's fine. When I played through Dusk, I beat it with saves on the Ultraviolence pistol start equivalent, Sarah Miedo Intruder Mode. I didn't try to grind to do it saveless or get all the achievements or Duskmare, which was one direct hit is death, because that's what I wanted out of the game, and that's fine. Nobody was upset with me for it, and in fact, as a newcomer to the series, they helped me, they welcomed me with my playthrough all the same. Just as I've done with friends that have done not Sarah Miedo at some of the other settings. It's one thing to encourage someone to push themselves, and another to ridicule. So let's address some of the psychological aspects of difficulty shaming. See, if you've ever been bullied, you know how it feels. And when you're not constructive and you're helpless someone about the difficulty they play, how do you think your approach is taken? Will it welcome the other person in or put them off? So picking for someone for playing skill 1 because they're new to the game, what good does that do? It'll only bring them down. They'll say the Doom Eternal community sucks, and then they're going to develop this opinion, even if it's not considering the other community members that may not do this. It's important to recognize how what you say, how you say it, and your actions impact the community at large. How many games can you think of, don't answer this, but how many games can you think of that are known for having a toxic community? That's not a good thing, for sure. So be sure not to feed that for Doom and set a good example, because the community in general is represented by that, whether you may realize that or not. And even as unfair as it may be to look at one person as a whole, that is what is often done. So think about the greater implications that your actions have in how you carry yourself, representing as a Doomer to the greater community of gaming in general. Kind of interesting when you look at it that way, huh? Let me know what you think about that in the comment section too, by the way. Speaking of pushing, this one's important, and here's why. Remember how I talked about my own story earlier? How I went from almost not even wanting to play 2016 much to Modern Doom turning into a series that I love to break down and analyze? That's why I'm a firm believer in not selling yourself short. It's why one of the core aspects of this channel is strategy and helping others hit their goals. I don't care if you've never played a video game before, or if you're a first-time FPS gamer, shoutouts to Abel, or if you're just trying to beat Ultra Nightmare 100% for the 5th time or doing triple damage. I'll try to help you all the same, because you never know what you're capable of. And I got the help early on myself in 2016. I mean, yeah, I'd been playing FPS all my life, all these 30-something years, but something just felt odd about Modern Doom, like I mentioned earlier. Plus, since I had a really slow laptop and my old computer with Windows XP didn't work anymore, the newest game I played was Left 4 Dead 2. That came out in 2009. Other than retro shooters and games like Night Online, which is a WoW ripoff, or RuneScape, I'm talking about new high-tech gaming. Remember, I grew up with what are now called boomer shooters. That probably has something to do with it, doesn't it? And you know, you don't really know until you try. Does that sound cliche? Yeah, maybe, probably, but who cares? Because you know what? I've seen it myself. I've seen it work in people, because it happened to me, and that's why it matters. So yeah, push yourself, but do not, under any circumstances, sell yourself short or give yourself less worth than you have. But also, don't do something that you're not interested in. So I guess my whole point, it boils down to this. Don't pick on people. They may have different goals and aspirations in life. And as strongly as I feel about Eternal being played on Nightmare, I'm not going to pick on somebody for choosing a lower skill level. I'm going to help them. I'll push them to be their best, yes, of course. But if they aren't ready or they don't want to up the difficulty, I'm not going to force them down a path that they either aren't ready for or they don't want to take. They need to play and enjoy it at their own pace. Even if I do wish that they would go to Nightmare with all my being, I won't pick on them or force it. And hey, just know that if you do disagree with me on this, you can still weigh in at the comment section or Discord. I want you to. We can still discuss it, of course, but in a civil manner. So if you like this video, consider subscribing to the channel to support it, maybe even becoming a member, or check out my other videos here. I'm Alston. Thank you for watching.